The dust swirled like a devil's whisper through the sun-baked streets of Dust Creek, Texas, where the air hung heavy with the stench of sweat, horse manure, and desperation. In the heart of the market square, under a merciless noon sun that scorched everything it touched, stood a wooden platform stained with years of spilled blood and broken dreams. That's where they dragged her out. Naked as the day she was born, her skin marked with bruises like purple storm clouds, her long black hair matted and wild, falling over eyes that burned with a fire no whip could extinguish. The crowd of rough men, cowpokes, gamblers, outlaws with guns slung low, leered and laughed, but not one raised a hand to bid. "Who'll take this wildcat?" the auctioneer bellowed, his voice cracking like dry leather. "Abandoned by her own kin, fresh from the Badlands. No takers? Come on, boys, she's got spirit." She was Elena, though no one here knew her name or cared to ask. Her wrists were raw from the ropes that had bound her during the long ride from the border, where bandits had raided her family's wagon train. They'd killed her parents in a hail of bullets that echoed like thunder, stripped her bare as a humiliation before selling her off. But the bandits had laughed when the first buyers backed away. Something in her gaze, a defiant spark, made men uneasy. "Too much trouble," they'd muttered, leaving her tied to a post overnight, exposed to the coyotes' howls and the cold bite of the desert wind. By morning, the market buzzed with whispers. A woman no one wanted, cursed maybe, or just too fierce for breaking. The auctioneer's hammer hovered, ready to declare her worthless, when a shadow fell across the platform. It was Harlan Crowe, the rancher from the outskirts, a man built like a gnarled oak tree, his face weathered by 40 years of sun and sorrow. His spurs clinked with each step, and the crowd parted like scared rabbits. Harlan wasn't one for markets. He came only for supplies, but today something pulled him toward that stage. He saw her, not as meat for sale, but as a storm waiting to break. "I'll take her," he growled, tossing a pouch of gold that thudded heavy on the wood. The auctioneer blinked, stunned. "You sure, Crow? She's got the devil in her eyes." Harlan didn't answer. He just wrapped his duster around her shivering form and led her away, the crowd murmuring like a brewing tempest. As they rode out of Dust Creek on Harlan's black stallion, the wind whipped up sand that stung like needles. Elena clutched the coat, her body aching from the ordeal, but her mind raced. Who was this man? A savior or another captor? She stole glances at him. Scar across his cheek, eyes like shadowed canyons. He didn't speak, just guided the horse toward the horizon where his ranch sprawled like a forgotten kingdom. The ride stretched endless, the sun dipping low, painting the sky blood-red. Elena's heart pounded. She'd heard tales of ranchers who bought women for dark purposes, locking them away in isolated spreads where screams vanished into the vastness. They arrived at Crow's ranch as dusk fell, the adobe house looming against purple mountains. Cattle lowed in the distance, and a few hands eyed them curiously from the bunkhouse. Harlan helped her down, his touch surprisingly gentle, but Elena flinched anyway. "You'll stay here," he said, voice rough as gravel. "No chains, but don't run. Apaches out there'd make the market seem kind." He showed her to a small room with a cot, a basin of water, and clothes that smelled of lavender, his late wife's, she guessed from the faded portrait on the wall. A woman with sad eyes, gone too soon. Elena washed the grime away, the water turning muddy, but the bruises remained, throbbing reminders. That night, as stars pierced the black sky like bullet holes, Elena lay awake, plotting. She could slip out, steal a horse, head for the border. But footsteps creaked outside her door, Harlan, pacing like a guard. Or was he protecting her? Suspense coiled in her gut. She trusted no one since the raid. Morning brought chores, Harlan set her to mending fences, her hands blistering under the sun. He watched her work, not with lust, but something deeper, unspoken. "Why'd you buy me?" she finally spat, wiping sweat from her brow. He paused, lighting a cigarette. "Saw myself in you. Abandoned once, too." His words hung heavy, a hook that pulled her in despite herself. Days blurred into a tense rhythm. Elena learned the ranch, vast acres of scrubland, herds of longhorns that thundered like earthquakes. The hands, grizzled men like old Jake with his missing fingers from a stampede. Kept distance, whispering about the naked wildcat Harlan had brought home. But tension simmered. One night, a drifter named Slade rode in, eyes greedy as he spotted Elena fetching water. "That's quite the prize, Crowe," he sneered, hand drifting to his pistol. Harlan's face hardened. "She's not for sale." Slade laughed, but his gaze lingered, promising trouble. Elena felt the noose tightening. She overheard the hands talking. Harlan had enemies, rustlers who'd sworn vengeance after he gunned down their leader years back. Was she bait? Or collateral? Suspense built like a gathering storm. She found a hidden knife under her cot, left by Harlan? Testing her? That night, thunder cracked, rain lashing the roof. Elena slipped out, knife in hand, toward the stables. But a figure waited in the shadows, Slade, grinning like a wolf. "Thought you'd run, sweetheart. I'll take what's Crowe's." He lunged, grabbing her arm, his breath hot and foul. She fought like a cornered panther, slashing with the knife, drawing blood. Slade howled, pistol whipping across her face, stars exploding in her vision. They tumbled in the mud, rain mixing with blood, her scream swallowed by the storm. Then a shot rang out, Harlan, rifle smoking. Slade slumped dead. Elena gasped, backing away. You set this up?" Harlan shook his head, rain streaming down his face. "No. But I knew trouble followed you. Same as me." The revelation hit like a gut punch. Harlan hadn't bought her for himself. He'd seen the bandits' brand on her shoulder, a mark from the notorious Blackthorn gang, the same outlaws who'd killed his wife in a raid 5 years back. "They left you to die, thinking no one wants you," he confessed by the fire later, bandaging her wounds. "But I did. To draw them out. Revenge." Elena's world spun. She was pawn in a deadly game. Shocking betrayal twisted her insides. Was his kindness all a lie? Yet, in his eyes, she saw pain mirroring her own. The ranch became a fortress of suspense. Harlan taught her to shoot, his hands steadying hers on the rifle, their touches electric with unspoken tension. Nights brought dreams of the market, of leering faces, but now mixed with Harlan's shadow. The hands grew restless. Old Jake warned of riders spotted on the ridge, Blackthorn's men scouting. Elena's heart raced. Run or fight? She chose fight, hiding a derringer in her boot. The attack came at dawn, a shocking barrage of gunfire shattering the peace. Blackthorn's gang, 10 hard men on horseback, charged the ranch, bullets splintering wood. Harlan barked orders, hands returning fire from windows. Elena crouched behind a barrel, heart thundering, picking off a rider who screamed as he fell. Chaos reigned, cattle stampeding, barns igniting in flames that licked the sky orange. Harlan took a bullet to the shoulder, blood soaking his shirt, but he fought on, grim as death. In the melee, Blackthorn himself appeared, a giant with a scarred face, laughing maniacally. "Where's the girl? She's mine!" He spotted Elena, charging like a bull. She fired, missing, and he grabbed her, knife to her throat. "You were supposed to die slow," he hissed, breath reeking of whiskey. Suspense peaked. Time slowed as Harlan staggered forward, gun raised. "Let her go, you bastard!" Blackthorn sneered. Or what? You'll die watching. But Elena twisted, stomping his foot, elbow to his gut. He loosened, and she spun, Derringer blasting point blank. Blackthorn's eyes widened in shock, blood blooming on his chest. He crumpled, the gang faltering without their leader. The remaining outlaws fled into the dust, pursued by Harlan's hands. As smoke cleared, Elena knelt by Harlan, tearing cloth to bind his wound. Why risk it all? She whispered, tears mixing with soot. He gripped her hand, voice weak. Wasn't just revenge. Saw a fighter in you. A partner. The admission shocked her. Love blooming in the ashes? But shadows lingered. With Blackthorn dead, was she free? Or bound by something deeper? Weeks passed, the ranch rebuilding. Elena stayed, not as property, but choice. Yet suspense whispered, rumors of Blackthorn's brother vowing blood. One night, a letter arrived, anonymous, threatening. You're next, wildcat. Elena shivered, but Harlan pulled her close. We'll face it together. Their kiss was fire, shocking passion igniting in the quiet. The story twisted further when old Jake confessed he'd been Blackthorn's spy, feeding info for gold. Betrayal struck like lightning. Elena confronted him, knife drawn. Why? Jake wept. Debt. They own me. Harlan exiled him, but mercy? Or set up for more? Paranoia gripped Elena. Every shadow hid danger. Climax built on a moonless night. Riders returned. Not Blackthorns, but Federals, badges gleaming. Harlan Crowe, you're under arrest for vigilante killings. Shock rippled. Elena's world cracked. Had Harlan's revenge crossed lines? He fought, guns blazing, but they overwhelmed him, dragging him away in chains. Elena rode after, desperate, into a town rife with corruption. In the jail, Harlan whispered through bars. It was all for you. Blackthorn's brother is the sheriff. Revelation exploded. The law was the enemy. Elena plotted escape, seducing a guard with promises, stealing keys in a tense midnight heist. Heart pounding, she freed Harlan, but alarms wailed, bullets flying. They fled into canyons, pursued relentlessly. Hiding in a cave, wounds festering, they shared truths. Elena's real name was Maria Elena Vasquez, daughter of a Mexican revolutionary, targeted by Blackthorn for her father's gold map tattooed on her back, hidden under scars. Shocking twist. That's why no one bought her. Bandits feared the curse of stolen treasure. Harlan traced the map with fingers, eyes widening. This leads to fortune. But greed? No, they burned it in the fire, choosing freedom. Pursuit closed in, a final standoff at Devil's Pass. Sheriff Blackthorn, spitting image of his brother, cornered them. You took everything, he roared. Gunfight erupted, echoes deafening. Elena took a graze, blood hot, but Harlan fell, gut shot. Rage fueled her. She charged, tackling the sheriff off a cliff, tumbling into abyss. Suspense hung. Did she survive? Clinging to a ledge, she pulled herself up, Harlan gasping beside her. It's over, he murmured. But shock. The sheriff clung below, knife and teeth. Elena stomped his fingers, watching him plummet with a scream. Victory bitter, they limped to Mexico, starting anew. Yet, in quiet moments, Elena wondered, was it truly over? Whispers of more brothers, endless vendettas. The West never forgot. Years later, their ranch thrived, children with fiery eyes running free. But one day, a stranger rode in, scarred, familiar. Sister? He said to Elena. Lost brother, survived the raid? Or imposter for revenge? Suspense eternal, the stories circling like vultures. In the end, the abandoned woman became legend, the one no one wanted, who claimed her own fate in blood and fire. Harlan by her side, they faced the horizon, ready for whatever shock awaited. The West was wild, and so were they.